So welcome everyone to another one of our Tiger Talks. We are so glad to have you here. My name is Lindsay Bray. I'm the Senior Coordinator for Parent and Family Services. And today we have Brittany Bryson with us, who is our health educator with our Counseling and Health Services office. And she is here to kind of tell you a little bit about their services and kind of the ways that they can help support your student, but also kind of some of the ways maybe you can help your student as well. So welcome, Brittany. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Lindsay. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So can you just start us off? Can you tell us a little bit about your office and what you do and what your office kind of does? I know y'all do a lot for our students.
As you do too. So I can start us off. I am the Health and Wellness Outreach Counselor in the Student Health and Counseling Center. So a lot of people, I know we say the title together, but we don't really break it down. So we are the Health Center, which is in the Health Hudson building, closer to the library. And we are the Counseling Center, which is in Wilder Tower. So we are in two separate places, but we are one office. So therefore we serve clinic needs for our students. So if you need to go to the clinic for any like minor med situations, fever, got a little sore throat, oh, this aches, you can stop by the health center for that. Now, when I say stop by, I do mean virtually during this time. Normally you would be able to drop in physically, but during this time, it's going to be virtual drop-ins for both the health center and the counseling center. Now, for the counseling center, we do provide counseling sessions, individuals and group for students who are interested. Any student that is fully registered or a full-time student is able to have 6 individual sessions a semester. Groups are unlimited for their services if they would like. We have a multidisciplinary staff with psychologists. I am a licensed professional counselor. We also have licensed social workers as well. Ooh, if I can speak. But as far as that, specifically for numbers to get in contact with us, since things are a little different right now, you can head over to our memphis.edu/counseling or /health and get our current numbers. You can get in contact with us to get your appointment scheduled.
Great. And when you say, obviously things are a little bit different right now. And so in terms of our health services, when you say minor, what kind of things do normally our students might utilize those for, and maybe what wouldn't they use that for?
Right. Thank you for the clarity, Lindsay. That is correct. So minor being maybe I have my allergies going on. I need my basic allergy med because, Memphis and our weather, you just never know how someone's going to feel. I will say if you are having symptoms indicative of coronavirus, that is not something we are handling right now. We do ask that you either go to our Shelby County Health Department or other local testing sites. We are not testing for COVID in the health center. So just want to make that a point. Also headaches or aches, things like that. You tripped and had sprained your ankle or something, have x-rays available. I will say you will be consulted first virtually, and in that virtual session there'll be another decision if you need to come in and do a lab test for something, again separate from coronavirus.
Yeah, I know. I've used the health services myself, and it's a great place on campus to get checked out for those little things that you've got going. So in terms of our counseling services, in terms of our counseling services, so you said students are limited to 6 sessions. How do those usually work? Are there anything that in particular that are seen? Is there anything that you recommend students maybe go see another counselor for?
Yeah, so normally we get the whole spectrum of whether it's anxiety, depression, substance use, personality concerns, maybe sometimes even general stress. And I think that's one thing we do want to emphasize with counseling is that no problem is too big or too small to seek help for. So I know sometimes there's a misconception like, oh, this isn't a big deal. Oh, it's not bothering anybody else. If it's bothering you, that's what matters. So make sure you come in and do talk about it. Now, the things that may be above our scope or above our care would be things that would need higher level of care treatment that we're just not able to offer more than 6 sessions to treat. So whether it's a weekly visits or maybe some higher needs like intensive outpatients, so higher level of care needs, that could be maybe severe anxiety or depression that can be managed on a bi-weekly basis, and that needs additional care. But also we do have a psychiatrist with our office as well who does do medication management. So we do have that with us in hopes that that will help manage things as well.
is there something that would you recommend that if a student is already being treated that they stay with that professional or that they come over, or how would you recommend handling that situation?
Now, what do you mean stay with that? Like if they're already seeing somebody in our office?
Or an outside professional that maybe
Oh.
maybe in the Memphis area, or if they're coming from afar or something like that. Do they work together, or how is there a protocol to that, or is that on an individual basis?
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, we normally recommend if you already have an individual therapist and you guys have a great relationship, continue that relationship, of course. We are not able to treat someone individually if you already have an individual therapist, therefore meaning you couldn't have like 2 individual therapy sessions in the same week. We only don't encourage that because it may be a little bit of a conflict of interest. We don't want to get you to have 2 different messages from 2 different people and get confused and like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What's best for myself? But you can also still come to groups with us, even if you do have individual outside of the university. So that is still possible. Now, what can happen too is maybe you do have your individual therapist and maybe money is getting weird or insurance has dropped them. Now you're without a therapist. Of course, then at that point, please come see us so you can get some kind of continued care.
Great. So in terms of our health services, they are the ones that handle all of our immunization forms for our students, and many of our new students have either submitted those or are working on those. Is there any suggestions that you have, since we've only got a few days left before classes start, if they have not submitted, or if they have any questions or anything like that in terms of immunizations?
Yeah, go ahead and get those. And it is an easy process. You can go to our, again, memphis.edu/health site, and our immunization tab will take you to a place to upload if there are any missing paperwork or documents that you need to give us. I know the main one is the immunization to either live on campus or stay with us, whether you've taken the recent vaccines or not. So make sure you upload that as soon as you can. And if you ever need a confirmation, you can reach out to us then just to make sure that we've got it too if you need to.
So if a student does get ill, not COVID related, while they're here on campus, and they come to see y'all, do you all provide any kind of like sick notes or work excuses or anything like that for them?
Not necessarily sick notes. We can do proof of attendance. So just say, hey, this person did come here on this day at this time. We won't necessarily get detail with what was happening or what was going on, but we can just do proof of attendance that you were at the counseling center or the health center during this time and this day.
Great. And so when we're maybe right now, as you said, students need to make a virtual appointment with our health services, correct?
Yes.
So when hopefully we go back to normal, do students have to make an appointment to come see the health services, or how does that work for them?
Yeah, so I call pre-corona days. Normally what would happen is every day from 8 to 10 would be walk-in hours for students. So you could walk in whether you have an appointment or not. Now from 10 to 3, about 3:30, you would have to get on your My Patient portal and make an appointment. But it's super fast and it's super easy. So let's just say it's around 12 and I need to go to the health center, but I didn't make an appointment. You can literally make the appointment as you're walking over if there's an empty slot.
Great. So it's a really relatively easy process for our students. So in terms of the counseling center, what did those kind of making those appointments and scheduling those out usually look like? You said virtual appointments right now. Is there usually a time period to wait? How do those kind of work?
Yeah, so similarly with like the health center, you would get a virtual appointment first before normal. Now, again, pre-COVID, you could walk in to the counseling center, but now we have a virtual waiting room. So if you are currently, I'm sorry, something's in my eye. If you are currently a student, you can just reach out to one of our numbers and get in touch with one of your with a therapist and get your appointment set up. Now, it's a little bit different with our virtual waiting room. You can pop in and we use a program called DocsyMe. So you can pop into the waiting room and one of our office staff will greet you and get your information down. And if you want to come into triage, and our triage hours are now from 10 to 3. So between the hours of 10 and 3, you can come to the virtual waiting room and request to see a therapist. You'll fill out some paperwork, again, much like you would do if you were in person. Fill out some paperwork and a therapist will meet with you for a triage session. So the triage session is a brief 10, 15-minute talk that you'll have with the therapist to see what's going on with you, what are your main concerns, and how we as a center can best serve you. So that could look like pairing you with another therapist to start your 6 sessions, or getting an assessment, or starting a group. It just depends on what you talk about with your therapist.
So outside of the counseling sessions, are there other services that you all have that can kind of help students, particularly during right now when there is a lot more anxiety going on, or just in general when students have some extra anxiety, whether it's test taking or new friendships or relationship issues or things like that? Are there things outside of those counseling sessions that are available to students?
Absolutely. So we have outreach, a lot of outreach we do as an office, whether it's to faculty, staff, and students, to make sure we're not just doing sessions in our offices, but also we're taking mental health out across campus. So we have several workshops. Again, there will be Zoom this semester, workshops, tablings that we'll have. So basically we'll be on Instagram Live, and if folks want to pop in, ask questions or things like that, we'll be available to do that too. A lot of areas we cover are back to school wellness, anxiety, depression on campus. This semester we'll focus a bit more on loneliness, and having a couple of more opportunities on Zoom or Instagram Live, whichever one we're doing for that event, to make sure students have a place to come and chat and learn a bit more about how to take care of themselves during this semester. Specifically, we'll have the Wellness Fair in October, which will spotlight different offices on campus to make sure students still know about their services, even though we're not live and in person. We have a couple things planned for Welcome Week, so that first week back to school, so catch us on our calendar. And we'll be sending that calendar out to Lindsay, so if you can share with folks so they'll know that we'll have several things for the semester for them.
Yeah, we will definitely get that calendar out there. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for our students to connect in virtually, but still connect with our students. And I know one of the really cool things that unfortunately, hopefully pre-COVID times and post-COVID times, and sooner rather than later, is the Relaxation Zone that you all have. Can you talk a little bit about that and what students can look forward to with that?
I know. Okay, so we've closed it now, and it will remain closed until we are allowed to be back at full capacity. But once upon a time, y'all, there was this place that you could go on campus in Bristol, and it's called the Relaxation Zone. It's a quiet place. It plays soft music, and it's just somewhere for students to come and just sort of check out for a minute. There are massage chairs, there's a stress ball making station, a biofeedback station, a coloring station, a rock coloring station, just different places for you to practice self-care, practice relaxation, giving your brain a break throughout the day so you can make sure you can rejuvenate a little bit and get back to what you were doing. But we want to emphasize the importance of giving yourself a break, even if it's just 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, to make sure we get accustomed to giving yourselves a chance to relax and breathe instead of having this 100 on 100 all day, every day sort of burnout energy.
Yeah, it's a really fun space. Staff does not usually get to go in there. It is a very student-centered space, but I've gotten a chance to go in a couple of times, and it really is a really nice, relaxing space. Those massage chairs are really like the best.
Everybody.
So during this time, obviously, a lot more of our students may be living at home or will be in more contact with their parents. Do you have any recommendations on how parents can really kind of help their students through this time, through this transition, and particularly being a transition that's kind of fraught with a little bit more difference than normal? Do you all have any recommendations on how parents could help or students can help themselves?
Yeah, and I think it's for both parents and students, this is a realization of potentially a loss before it was even a loss, right? So it's really just acknowledging sort of the stress and frustration that comes with, I can only imagine like as a freshman entering what is supposed to be, move-in day and my college days, and I'm supposed to be doing all these great things, hanging out with friends, kind of losing out on that, at least just for the first semester. Again, hopefully it's different next semester. So just recognizing that, doing check-ins with each other. It's like, hey, how are you doing? I know this is different than what you expected, but what is it like for you now? How is it being involved with these classes? How is it doing all this work kind of at home where you were last semester? Is it any different to you? And just want to emphasize that part. It's like, yeah, you are a Tiger, you are in college, you're not in high school anymore. Just emphasizing that next step, that they have made it to that next level for them, because sometimes it's not evident when our environment doesn't really change.
I think those are really great points. I think we're all moving through this and realizing the grief that we all kind of have and the lost experiences is important for all of us to kind of recognize and work through that. So is there are there any other kind of services that you wanna tell parents about that for their students? Anything we've skipped over?
I just want to, I guess, clarify that we do have a psychiatrist for any student who is uninsured. They are more than welcome to come and get treatment. So medication treatment for anxiety, depression, things like that with our on-site psychiatrist. We also have assessments available. So things like ADHD testing or personality testing, things of that nature, psychologists would be able to do that with you, just to make sure if there are any accommodations that can be made with DRS services, we can make sure those tests are done to get those accommodations. Now at this time, we are still working with what those tests look like virtually, if we can do them virtually. So we are still working that out, but normally in person, those assessments will be easily done. Individual service, group services. We also have couples. Now couples, pointing out too, that doesn't necessarily mean a romantic couple. It could be you and your roommate. Any two people are a couple. So if you are having issues or stress and need some sort of talk between two folks, we're more than happy to do that too.
And can you, since of course this is a big thing for parents too, is cost. Can you talk a little bit about what cost might be associated with any of those for our students?
Yes, so I guess to cost for the health center and the counseling center. So cost for the health center it's of course free to access, but there will be minimal costs for example, if you get an x-ray or you do need to come in and have a lab done, there are costs associated with that. Also, if you choose to use our dispensary, so if you get a prescription or medication or something, again, minimal cost with that as well. Now, those charges will go to your bursar account. No money is exchanged at either center, and you would pay through that way. Counseling center, similar. No cost to access our services. There will be minimal costs for things like the assessment and fees for different services. Like if you do alcohol or drug assessment, or if there's ever a violation of any kind, there's a fee associated with that too.
Okay. Yeah, and that's great for parents too, because if they're an authorized user, they can help take care of some of those costs too on there, since it's just going straight to their regular bill, like any tuition meal plans or anything else like that.
It is, yeah.
That's great. Well, I think that is all of the questions that we have for right now. Is there any last pieces of advice that you have for our students and our new families as they're getting ready in only like 2 weeks to come and join us?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, just to share our resources. So the counseling center /Memphis.edu/counseling, we have wellness and resources on our pages, lots of videos, tips, information, health education, just to manage stress and anxiety during this times. We have some specific COVID resources on there as well. So make sure to check those out. But also, the biggest thing I would love to say is like, y'all, please be kind and gentle with yourselves. Please, please, please. Everyone is going through something so different than what they thought. The expectations, the year 2020, I think when we're done with this year, we're going to be like, oh, bye, just don't go back. Don't ever go back. But through all of these challenges, through all the difficulty, through the loss, just remember to be gentle with yourself and be gentle with each other. Frustrations will come out, worry, anxiety will come out. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's unpleasant words or unpleasant thoughts and unpleasant feelings, and it's very uncomfortable to sit with. So if you need to take time to recheck and be with yourself and breathe again, please do that. But just make sure you remember that it's all love, it's all family, and welcome to the Tiger family, and we're here to help take care of you too.
That's amazing, Brittany. Thank you so much. Couldn't have said it any better. So I think that is fabulous. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Brittany, so much for joining us too, and talking a little bit about those services. As normal, parents, we will put links below as well so that you have those. And of course, reach out to us if you ever have any questions and we'll get you to the right place. So thank you again, and we will see you soon.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye.
Bye.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was great.